Just a minute. Let me just close this one. Yeah, sorry. Hi, how are you?
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm doing great. I didn't know you couldn't join from the laptop. It's a mobile only thing, so I
Yeah,
tried
no,
joining from the
actually,
laptop
even
first and
I'm doing
then.
it for the first time. So I also did not know, like, apparently you
Okay.
can, I'm not sure if you can join from the laptop. I looked for the option, I didn't find it. The
Uh,
option was only available on mobile.
no, no, that's all
Yeah.
right.
So can you hear me clearly,
No
right?
problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's just so how are you? Uh,
And I'm doing good. It's a Friday evening here. I'm in
so
Bangalore.
are you just back
So,
from work or
how are
something?
you? Yeah, actually,
And where do you stay, Sani?
I
Okay,
live
Bangalore.
in.
I kind of guessed it because techie. So I kind of guessed that must be
Yeah,
Bangalore. I lived in Bangalore for some
right,
time
right.
actually. Yeah, lived
Nice.
in Bangalore for
Where are you based out of right now?
now in Delhi. My home is in
Okay.
Delhi. I've lived in Delhi all my life, but I
Oh,
stayed in Bangalore for like about 3 years, nearly 3 years,
hmm.
just slightly less.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see if we have some viewers, and let's see if people join in. I'll just send out one tweet that we have gone live, and then so we both are now live. So let's begin from where it all began,
Yeah.
like your tweet.
Oh yeah, that was I was just having chai and I
Tell me
did not
about your
even
tweet. How did that tweet come
not
about? Like, how did you think about writing that?
no no so I was just having chai one evening and there was nothing I don't know provocating about it. I just was thinking, oh, this I have seen in a lot of households growing up. So okay, let me just put this thought. I didn't even think it would garner so much attention and this was so other tweets where I've put so much thought and research into which never went viral. And I was like, this is a plain simple tweet and people are just
Yeah.
trolling and
Sani, your
hating
voice
and I
is
was
not
like,
a
oh,
little.
okay, okay. So this is a very
Sani, a
strong
little.
sentence.
Your voice is slightly unclear.
Okay.
Uh, like, uh, let me just
Try
give a
joining
little bit
again.
of background to, in case some of the viewers are completely new. So what happened is that it's very fresh. It's like about 3 4 days back. So Sani will join back. I think she's got locked out. But let me just give a background. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? I think so. Anyway, so let me just. I think we have some viewers over here. Let me just give a background. What happened is few days back, maybe 4 days back, Sani made a tweet saying कि next time you visit your home, ask your bhaiya, jiju, mama, papa to make that tea instead of asking your mummy, didi, bhabhi. मतलब ask the men of the family to make some tea. ये था point. And I mean, this little bit of tweet. That's it. She did not say anything else. There was no other. There's no other. Point about any political statement, any feminist statement. There's nothing feminist about what she says. Also, but there was a whole deluge of right wing troll that came to her timeline. Her tweet. I was just. Did you try to join from the laptop? Maybe why don't you try from the and see if that
No,
works? No.
it did
Okay.
not allow me. It said that it's a phone only feature.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
now your visuals and voice are clearer actually.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
Oh.
just changed rooms and thought that it might get better.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just giving a background. That's so Sayani made that tweet, and what happened is that a whole. I was just like that. That's it. Asked the men to make some tea. There was nothing, no other political statement, no feminist statement added to
Hmm.
it. It was just that. And she also said that you also said that, barring of course those people who will make their own tea. Like, of course, you
Yeah,
can also make your
yeah.
own tea, but if you are
Yeah.
telling someone to make it for you, like a lot of us, we actually make our own tea. But kabhi kabhi, matlab, ask the men of the family to make that tea. And
Right.
this triggered a whole meltdown amongst the राइट विंग ट्विटर क्राउड जो है जो मॉब है वो बिल्कुल आ गई द ट्वीट वेंट वायरल द ट्वीट गॉट लाइक सम 200 over 200,000 like 2 lakhs views
Yeah.
and there was this whole bunch of interestingly and that's something that we will discuss Saini there are three large topics that actually emerges from your tweet that needs to be discussed और मैं ये
Okay.
भी बताऊं कि ये there's nothing new in it every
Hmm.
time you make any post on Twitter or social
Hmm.
media about feminism, you will have this kind of trolling. There's nothing new. What happened?
Yeah.
It's just that I thought we need a space to talk about it. That
Hmm.
we need to like take this, not just keep it restricted to that one tweet that went viral and then everybody came to your timeline and this
Hmm.
whole thing. And interestingly, what happened is this usually जो deluge of trolls जो हमारे timeline पे आ जाते हैं वो
Hmm.
एनोनिमस होते हैं ज्यादातर राइट विंग
Hmm.
ट्रोल्स होते हैं सब मोदी के
Yeah.
तरफ होते हैं और
This was
सब
interesting कि सारे लोग anonymous नहीं थे.
या
There were a lot of people
यूजुअली
who,
मोदी
yeah,
yeah so this time so usually they are all right wing trolls but they are
yeah.
mostly anonymous होते हैं बहुत
Right,
but
right.
and even trolling as a phenomena is
Hmm.
more prevalent when because of the anonymity factor you can easily say a lot of vile things being
Hmm.
anonymous it's not that but interestingly now I'll let Sayani talk about it interestingly one of those replies that came on your timeline also went
Yeah.
viral now let's talk
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
particular reply tell me about it Sayani.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it was a very harmless tweet for me. I was just having chai one evening and I thought that, okay, so this is something that I've seen growing up in a lot of households. And I was like, it's a very harmless way. I just tweeted it out. I had no idea it would go viral. I did not even put any thought into it. I was like, ठीक है, लिख देते हैं. I mean, it went viral. There are like other tweets where I have written with research, with data, and it never went viral. I was like, oh, ये तो effortless tweet था. And
That-
yeah, the reply
yeah.
got
That's
more
something
viral.
that's actually very annoying that when we put in all our hard work with so much of research,
Yeah.
knowledge, and we share those things in the hope that लोग देखेंगे कितनी जानकारी
Hmm.
मिलेगी उनको उनमें किसी को कोई
Hmm.
इंटरेस्ट नहीं है even on my
Right.
timeline and I've been on Twitter for 15 years I
Wow.
am on Twitter for since 2007 so that's 2007 is like what yeah 15 years right
Hmm. Hmm.
2007 to 17 and 23 14 years so I've been on Twitter
Hmm.
for 14 years and I have noticed that वो जो एक आपने डाल दिया
Hmm.
फेमिनिस्ट ट्वीट और अगर आपने डाल दिया कोई मतलब सेक्युलर ट्वीट सेक्युलरिज्म
Hmm.
फेमिनिज्म पे आपने बात कर ली तो वो हो गया बवाल
Hmm.
and then it will get all the
Hmm.
views and that's what like
Right.
that is like anything that's triggering anything that's polarizing is what
Hmm.
sells on social media what is
Hmm.
interesting in this tweet was that then came this woman her name okay I forgot the name what was the name abhi uh, uh,
Abhilasha.
Abhilasha.
Yeah.
Abhilasha Purwar. Now, like I
Hmm.
said, trolling and all mostly anti-feminist brigade जो है वो
Hmm.
anonymous.
Hmm.
Men's rights
Hmm.
activists आप देखोगे, they are anonymous. But this one here is a woman who has her photo, has her full name.
Hmm.
She's coming with her own real personality, and
Hmm.
she dissed at your tweet by giving
Hmm.
a retort. And I'll just read it out for
Hmm.
our viewers. So we have some viewers on with us, and I wrote it on the article also, but I'll just read it out for viewers. She said, क्योंकि Sayani had said कि ask your Jiju, Papa, Mama to make some tea. So she said,
Hmm.
next time I visit your next time you visit your family, ask your bhaiya, Jiju, sorry, this was your. Next
Hmm.
time I visit my family, I also ask my didi, bhabi, chachi, mummy
Hmm.
to carry my luggage up and down. मतलब कि ये अपना
Yeah.
luggage खुद नहीं करती है carry. ये अपना luggage, she cannot carry her own luggage. So she says that she
Hmm.
would next time ask her didi, bhabi to carry the luggage. And then
Hmm.
she will also tell people to come and pick her up from the airport. Again, she cannot travel
Hmm.
alone. She needs a chauffeur to be driven
Hmm.
her up and down from the airport, and
Hmm.
sacrificing sleep, blah blah.
Hmm.
Contain entire mapping information guide to drive through new roads. Apparently, she
Hmm.
can't even drive without a man telling
Hmm.
her how to go about the road. We can mostly manage it with our
Hmm.
Google Maps and our
Hmm.
GPS, but it
Hmm.
seems Abhilasha Purwar can't do that. So she is dissing at your tweet, which is
Hmm.
essentially, in my understanding, and Sayani, correct me if I'm wrong, you were talking about maybe you didn't want it to be provocative, but at the heart
Hmm.
of it, there was a feminist message
Hmm.
about gender
Hmm.
based division of
Of
work,
course. Of
about
course.
how gender stereotypes, that making that
Hmm.
tea is a woman's job. And she came and dissed at your tweet. So, yeah. So, first of
Hmm.
all, what did you, when you saw that tweet, what did you think about it? What was your reaction to the Abhilasha's tweet?
Yeah, I think I saw that tweet very much later because I was busy that day or something, and then it had gone viral beyond scale. And
Yeah.
sometime later, I opened up and I have like my notification bars all full, and I'm just scrolling, and I had no idea that suddenly this had, gotten so much heat. And I read through it, and I was like, okay, I mean, firstly, when I say that someone else can also make tea, doesn't mean I am attacking one gender. And if someone is out of will carrying someone's luggage, like giving power to one gender doesn't mean taking away power from the other gender. I think that is very important to understand, which most people get it wrong. They somehow feel attacked, and then they feel that just because I have asked you to do this, which means what about the other 10 things that I'm good at or I'm physically more capable of doing? It is not even, the discussion is not even about that. The discussion is about like if there has been a stereotypical job that only women did or only men did, let us have other gender also contribute to that activity, right? And people don't need to feel so much uh, or get so much defensive about it कि ओ मैं चाय बना लूंगा तो मैं कमजोर हो जाऊंगा क्योंकि मैं तो लगेज उठाता हूँ कहीं और. अरे आप लगेज उठाते हो, थैंक यू, बहुत अच्छी बात है. आप साल में एक बार चाय भी बना ही सकते हो. एंड आई एम श्योर बहुत सारे हाउस होल्ड्स में दे डू मेक टी. आई हैव सीन सो मेनी ऑफ माय मेल फ्रेंड्स मेक टी फॉर मी. बट इन अ लॉट ऑफ हाउस होल्ड्स वी डू गो एंड हम ऐसे कहते हैं कि भाभी जी जरा चाय बना दीजिए. एंड इवन इन आवर मूवीज इट इज पोर्ट्रेड in a light. Maybe, nowadays directors are getting more aware of these sort of things, but traditionally, if you have seen, the display in the movies is also something as such, that aap kehte ho ghar pe, if there are like men sitting, you tell the woman or the elder sister or someone to go and say, hey, didi chai bana dijiye. And sometimes even if the guy is back from a school vacation or something, you
Yeah.
also tell them. So it does not need to be a gender conforming activity is all that I meant to say. So yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think that people will feel कि अच्छा हमको चाय कैसे बनाने बोल दिया.
I mean, what is interesting, that's exactly what is interesting. Like you said, there's no need to be defensive. What I see is
Hmm.
that the moment you talk about the very existence of a feminist identity, like
Hmm.
here I am existing as a feminist and I'm talking about women's rights, immediately
Hmm.
the men need not to ask me, what about men's rights? Like, okay, fine, like, nobody's stopping you from talking about men's rights. It is not
Yeah.
the existence of somebody, a feminist,
Hmm.
talking about women's rights does not by default is an attack
Hmm.
on anybody. So there is no
Hmm.
need to start getting defensive about what about, like, what about men's
Hmm.
rights.
Hmm.
And like
Hmm.
we rightly said, अगर किसी को बोल दिया है कि आप चाय बना दीजिए, मतलब
Hmm.
Saini, you don't, I mean, maybe you don't realize, but in that little subtle message, you
Hmm.
gave actually something very powerful. Because हम
Hmm.
बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं महिला, women empowerment की. If you
Right.
see the corporate culture, the political culture is today like women empowerment and feminism has become a selling point. So सारी
Hmm.
political groups are also saying, वहाँ मोदी जी भी बोलते हैं कि हाँ महिलाओं को empowerment करना है, and women led leadership, and women-led democracy, blah blah. So
Hmm.
everybody is like corporate sector में gender pay gap. If you go to LinkedIn, every other Tom, Dick, and Harry is talking about women's rights. But what
Hmm.
you did is at the root of gender inequality, which is
Hmm.
gender stereotype, which is division
Hmm.
based gender based division of labor. कि आप जितनी भी वो एम्पावरमेंट की बात करो, जब तक कि आप
Hmm.
इस चीज को अपने अंदर तक नहीं ले पाओगे कि मर्दों को किचन में घुसना है, तब तक ना
Hmm.
आप वो चीज नहीं कर पाओगे. ये एक स्टीरियोटाइप है, ये एक माइंडसेट है, ये
Yeah,
मेल
yeah.
ईगो को हर्ट करता है. आई मीन इफ
Hmm.
यू
Hmm.
टॉक अबाउट, इवन इफ नो मैटर हाउ सटली यू से ना कि ask your papa or bhaiya or
Hmm.
jiju.
Hmm.
Oh, and if you say the jiju, oh my god, jiju are like the damat of
Oh,
damat, right? So the
yeah, yeah,
jijus
yeah.
are
Oh,
like
that's
out
a
of,
different
they cannot be
discussion.
touched.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
जीजू को तो आप बोल ही नहीं सकते हो.
Yeah, yeah,
अपने
yeah.
पापा को तो चलो फिर भी बोल सकते हो, छोटा भाई है तो
Hmm.
छोटा भाई को बोल सकते हो, बड़ा भाई नो.
Hmm.
पापा चलो ठीक है
Hmm.
बिकॉज पापा की लाडली. जीजू नेवर, बिकॉज जीजू इज लाइक द
Hmm.
दामाद ऑफ द हाउस एंड ही इज लाइक
Yeah,
द,
yeah.
he is so what I'm trying to say is that ये इतना hurt
How?
इसलिए करता है. If you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
simply talk about some gender pay gap on Twitter, you
Hmm.
won't have trolling. If you talk about
Hmm.
these days वो बहुत common हो गया है sexual harassment की बात workplace पे, you
Hmm.
won't
Hmm.
get so much of like backlash from the
Right.
men rights groups.
Hmm.
But you get the backlash from the men rights group, you get the
Hmm.
backlash from so-called save the family, save Indian family groups.
Yeah, yeah.
Interestingly, they are all right wing. What makes them all
Yeah.
right wing, I don't know. But they come
It's a bundle that comes together. It
it's a
never
bundle that
exists
comes together,
together.
and that is something that needs to be like understood, that
Yeah.
why, what is the connection between right wing
Hmm.
political ideology, which is say ethnicity based,
Hmm.
religion
Hmm.
based, hindutva based ideology, or here in US you could see Christian
Hmm.
nationalism, white nationalism. In India you have Hindu nationalism. What has
Yeah.
that got to do with who makes the tea at home? I
Of
mean,
course, of course.
that's a very interesting connection that needs to be explored. Why
Hmm.
are all the right wing anti? Why do they protest against women's abortion rights in the US? Why do they
Hmm.
protest against here in India so much anti-feminism?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's something. So what has happened is that you have hit at the heart of where it hurts. It
Hmm.
hurts the male ego to ask them to go into the kitchen. That's
Hmm.
one thing. The other thing that I wanted to discuss
Hmm.
is, I just made a note of a couple of things which I wrote
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
article.
Okay. Yeah,
Let
that
me
was a very
just,
well written article. I mean, I did not even know the other links that you posted and the books that I'm surely going to read that up. I think one thing people feel that, so empowerment does not come at someone else's disenfranchisement or vice versa, right? Just because I have to empower someone doesn't mean I have to pull down the other person. The I think this is a notion which most young people don't understand. They feel that it's either this or it's that. It's never that. People can coexist, powers can coexist, societal structures can also coexist together. Just
yeah,
because someone else, I mean, talking about stereotype of women in the kitchen, and I have had a lot of neighbors, friends who are recently married, who have gone through the transition of, being a single household to living with their in-laws right now. So mostly when they go back home after office, right, they have to do the lion's share of work. Like if, let's say, even at any industry, if the woman is also working, the man is also working. We saw this in pandemic also. There were like a bunch of researchers that pointed
yeah,
out that
yeah,
women are actually having to do much more work due to work from home, because previously going to office was a safe haven for them. They would go, they would escape, have their own sort of work, siloed, come back, and then deal whatever is at the home. So right now they are having to do laundry. They're having to take care of the kids, send the kids to school, put them to the nearest bus stop, go to office, take care of everything there, also be promoted there, also demand the pay, so that the pay gap goes away, but then come back
Yeah.
home and then be expected to make chai for everyone if there is guests, क्योंकि आप तो घर की बहू हो. So
Ah,
that's a lot of expectation on one gender. And this is not even saying कि ये हर किसी के घर पे होता है. I'm so happy अगर ये किसी के घर पे नहीं होता है, because ये नहीं होना चाहिए. But the fact that
right.
ये किसी के भी घर पे होता है is wrong. And it's very deep rooted. Most people don't even understand कि इसमें गलत है. And the perpetuators, even if there are households where, let's say, the previous generation, the women have had a job, they still put the same, I mean, they still hold the current day daughter-in-laws at the same pedestal where their mother-in-laws would have held them. So the gender stereotype did not really change by them having jobs. So because that's a very nuanced discussion, they also got biased in the type of households that they got married in, and then that is again perpetuating to the next generation. So people at some level need to be hyper aware right now कि ऐसे हो रहा है. And I think one of my friends also quote tweeted that my tweet and said that, say, women ko, if you, I'm not able to find it right now, but I'll link it to you later, that a woman is just saying that if she's doing gender-based stereotype job, let the men also sometimes take over. And then the men are coming and saying, whatever, hashtag stop fake feminism and all. A lot of men in his comments said that वो तुझे नहीं देगी, तू क्या सोच रहा है. And the very fact that every male in that comments thought that he was simping, or that being a male when he could enjoy the privilege of never making the chai, why would he ever support a woman who has said that go make chai? It makes no sense for a male to support that. But the fact that there are males around who are aware and who also support ki yes, there are stereotypes and there things need to be done. Everyone thought that he was just trying to, gain some favor or the other. And I was like, wow, I mean,
Yeah.
this is how little people think these days. As if, you can't even take a stand if you're taking a stand, which means that you want some favor or the other. As if you can't have your own spine or own whatever,
Yeah.
your
So
own morality.
yeah. So I thought I have heard this for like 100 times a day on a daily basis since 2017 to 2000, to now, because the more I have been active in the political discussion, every day some troll will come and say Rahul Gandhi nahi dega. Like the moment
Hmm.
you support a tweet or a statement from the opposition, Rahul Gandhi,
Hmm.
they will make it sexual. They'll make it about like
Hmm.
ये तो सोनिया जी की बहू आ गई, ये देखो राहुल
Hmm.
गांधी
Hmm.
को
Hmm.
सिंपिंग, and Rahul Gandhi नहीं देगा, because apparently we cannot have a political mind of our own,
Hmm. Yeah.
and inevitably you are,
Hmm.
because in this case, because it's a man and woman.
Hmm. Hmm.
Suppose
Hmm.
if you were a man, and then, I mean,
Hmm.
first of all, the two men to are not even having any conversations. Even if men are having
Hmm.
conversation, they are dissing at feminism. That happened with your tweet. It went to LinkedIn
Hmm.
from Twitter.
Oh yeah, it went to Instagram also. I don't know if you have seen. So there are
Yeah,
a lot
so
of
it was
Instagram
shared
pages.
on LinkedIn. The screenshot was shared on LinkedIn
Yeah,
by one
yeah.
Shivam. उसके बारे में मैंने लिखा था, one Shivam Chirolia, and then he again made like one pretentious post. He doesn't understand anything about like gender stereotypes or gender equality. Like I said, ये corporate में तो these are like common
Hmm.
topic बन गया है. You write about it, you get some brownie
Yeah, yeah,
points,
of course.
even if you don't understand the issue.
Hmm.
And so men on
Hmm.
that post, the Shivam Chirolia's post, they are again
Hmm.
dissing feminism. ये western concept है, ये west से आया है, ये सारी
Hmm.
fake है, all that thing.
Hmm.
So anyway,
I think
coming
they
to
don't understand the description or what feminism stands for. I have seen a lot that people somehow feel कि feminism means कि मर्द को नीचे कर दो, मर्द को दुनिया से हटा
No,
दो.
so,
It's not about them at all. It
yeah,
is,
so but like so who told them that's what feminism is? That's the
yeah,
problem. That's something that I was going to say that we needed to discuss is that
yeah.
like this couple of things that we this emerges from your tweet, and like I said, this is not the first time. These are going on
Hmm, hmm,
for several years now.
hmm,
Social media has also created that beast. Wow, everybody is coming on board and saying, "Yeah, I am feminist," and then another one is saying, "Oh, this all feminist." Like it's all confusion.
hmm,
So
hmm,
not everybody is feminist. You don't become
hmm,
feminist just randomly like that. There is a
hmm,
little bit of understanding. There are feminist theories. There are
hmm,
women studies that one does. So,
hmm.
a
I think
lot of
mostly
people.
talking to your female friends only help if you are just a person with an open mind, and just try to talk to some of your female friends that you have and have a heart to heart conversation कि आपकी जिंदगी में दिक्कत क्या है, and just understand that what all things they might have gone through in their life.
That's very
And
rightly said. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they don't
Simple
even need
पूछो
to
कि
read all
आपकी
these
जिंदगी
books
में
because this is
आपकी लाइफ
every
कैसी
day.
है. Just talk
Yeah,
to a woman और उसको बस इतना पूछो कि आपकी लाइफ कैसी है, and you will get the
yeah,
stories. You will get the understanding. So
yeah,
it's like so rightly put. Amazing.
yes.
Yeah. So anyway, coming back to what I was saying earlier about this, this gender stereotype and the tweet. So
Hmm,
Abhilasha, let me just like see a few of Abhilasha's tweet. I mean, some
hmm,
of the tweets that like really she. First
hmm,
of all, when I like when Women News responded to her tweets and asked
hmm,
you and her to
hmm.
join in as part of this, conversation today.
Mhm.
So Abhilasha Purwar went on and on making some 40 to 50 odd tweets on Twitter, even
Yeah.
though neither you though never replied, totally ignored her, and the Women News handle or I from my own handle hardly even replied to her 2 3 times, but she went on and on and on, ranting against the
Hmm.
original tweet, then what I said or what
Hmm.
Women News handle said. So she went on and on ranting about it, and I think she's still at it. But of all the things that she was saying,
Hmm.
what really caught my attention was this long thread that she started writing is gender stereotype.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I think she made sense.
I don't know.
She made a lot of sense when she started out. I think she lost it at some point, but yeah, she made a lot of informed points in the beginning.
So yeah, so you're saying that she you agreed to with her with some of her points initially. You say,
Yeah, of course,
yeah,
of course.
okay. So
So
let's
she gave the entire historical connotation of how it came into being and how gender-based segregation happened and why it was a necessity. What she missed out on was why it is no longer a necessity. We are not in war anymore. We are not sending men to war. We are not. We are in a world where most of the kind of jobs that people, let's say in my generation, do are does not require us to have the biological benefit of it, unless कि मैं ये कह रही हूँ मुझे अखाड़े में जाके लड़ना है, ओलंपिक्स में जाके लड़ना है तो वहां पे मैं किसी लड़के से लड़ूं. That's a different argument. That's of course different because they are differently built, they have different advantages over the other advantages. उसकी तो बात ही नहीं कर रहे ना. We are talking about day to day activities that does not require very significant physical abilities. Like, I mean, there are countries like Rwanda where, because of being in civil war, other countries as well, even previously Soviet
yeah
nation and
yeah
all, where the men have died, the women population shot up, they have taken up all sorts of job, has led the country to a better world today, and they have held all possible positions, like from pharma to construction to manufacturing to being scientists. They have done everything being a woman dominated country because the men died in war. They did not have an option. तो ये कहना कि women can't do things, that is wrong, because we have seen in the world that women, if put in such a position, they have been able to do. बट
Yeah.
वी ऑल्सो डोंट वांट ना कि हर कोई जाके सिविल वॉर पे मर जाए और हमको जाके पूरा दुनिया खड़ा कर, वी डोंट वांट दैट, आई मीन मोस्ट फेमिनिस्ट डोंट वांट दैट, वी वांट कि हमको जो जो नहीं मिला है वो मिले, सो दैट साथ साथ हम आगे बढ़ सके टुवर्ड्स अ बेटर वर्ल्ड. So that argument that gender based roles need to exist is very wrong. They don't need to exist anymore, and that's why we don't have like gender based roles anymore. And I think a lot of people also say that then why do you have women reservations, ऐसे buses में free
I didn't
tickets
get that. A lot of
कैसे
people.
है.
A lot of people also say.
A lot of people also say that why do you need to have then women reservation or free tickets for women, and abhi Karnataka mein hua tha that all the
Yeah.
women
You.
domiciled
Yeah.
here would have free ticket. That when you are saying about ki sare women ko to same if they have the same abilities, then why do you need such benefits or such reservations? What they don't understand is there is a very famous video also that has gone viral on the internet multiple times, where people start on a race in life, and people have different starting points in life. People don't start from the same point. You are right, in a most ideal world you don't need separate starting points, people start from the same starting line. But
Right.
because we had our, like till 2005 women didn't have right to property, that's why dowry was so prevalent. It is still prevalent, but then it, like how people justified it was that अच्छा तुमको तो जायदाद में हिस्सा नहीं है तो चलो तुम ये रख लो और ये हम तुमको दे दे रहे हैं. So all of those things were not there, and slowly we have been trying to move to a more equal society, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it has never been a starting point, because there are a lot of researches done that I have read. I can't like quote them right away, but जहाँ पे अगर घर में दो लड़का एक लड़की रहती है, the nutritional value of the woman goes down, because अगर when you have limited resources, you would want the men of the family to go and do big in life, and then अगर तीन रोटी उसको मिलती है तो एक रोटी उसको मिलते हैं. Now a lot of people will say कि हमारे घर पे तो नहीं होता, बट नहीं होता, लेकिन बहुत लोगों के घर पे लिमिटेड रिसोर्स
No,
होने की
that is
वजह
why
से
you have
ज्यादा.
to, you need data. That's why you need data, because you can't give
या
your personal anecdotal
या
evidence कि
एनेक्डोटल
हमारे
एविडेंस
घर में
नहीं
तो नहीं
चलेगा.
होता है.
हाँ, मेरे घर पे भी नहीं चलता है, ये मेरे
If
घर पे
you
भी
come
नहीं
from
होता
a
है.
privileged background, maybe you
या
come from a different background, that's a different
या
thing. You have to look at
यस,
the larger data. You have to,
ऑफ
that's
कोर्स,
why data are important. But
राइट राइट,
हमारी कंट्री में तो आजकल डेटा की तो कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. No,
हाँ
everybody wants to believe what they
या
want to believe. So I'm sorry,
हाँ.
I'm interrupting you, but yesterday
No, 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 that's okay.
when Abhilasha was talking about all of these, and she was trying to
Hmm.
justify gender-based division of labor, like you rightly said, कि
Hmm.
even though we agree although I personally don't agree about the biological factor behind the
Hmm.
gender-based role division of labor. That's
Hmm.
an
Hmm.
excuse.
Hmm.
Biology is really an excuse.
Hmm.
Here, I
Yeah,
disagree
yeah.
with you,
I
like
mean,
that
women have been able to do all
I mean,
sorts
I
of
would like to
jobs
say that she
nowadays.
never made any point, any sense to me. Not even
Huh.
in the beginning. You thought that she made a sense in the beginning. That's
Huh.
fine, fair enough. But there are two things. One is is biology did not require the society to be structured around the institution of
Hmm.
marriage. A marriage, which is
Hmm.
a patriarchal, patrilocal, patrilineal marriage.
Hmm.
What does this three means? Patriarchal means the power or the decision-making authority is a man, be it the father or the husband or the
Hmm.
son or the brother.
Hmm. Yeah.
Patrilocal means that the woman will leave her house and move into the husband's house. Biology
Hmm.
did not make that tradition, right?
Hmm.
This
Of
was to
course.
control the women's reproductive potential,
Yeah.
because you needed women as a reproductive tool, a tool
Hmm.
to keep making
Hmm.
babies. That's why the whole tradition of moving the woman from her comfort zone, from where she was born, and uproot
Hmm.
her and take her to a new place where she is
Hmm.
disempowered. She does not have the power to, and child marriage early, and
Right.
she was going back to millions of years back, like
Hmm.
thousands of
Hmm. Hmm.
years back. So if she
Hmm.
wants to go to thousands of years back, then thousands of
Hmm.
years back there was no democracy, no rights, no nothing.
There was
Women were
sati. Women
completely
were dying when the
disempowered.
husband was dying.
Yeah, women were completely disempowered at the mercy of the husbands, and
Yeah.
and the patrilocal. So houses are patrilocal, and patrilineal is what the property will be devolved. The
Hmm.
property, the name of the family, the lineage,
Hmm.
etc., goes to the husband. Now, this is not
Right.
biology. These are
Of course.
social
Of course.
constructs.
Of course, of
Biology
course.
is that women gets pregnant and she gives birth to babies.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Abhilasha went to the extent of justifying having 7, 8 babies to women's sexual desires. And when I told her
Oh,
that
that
it's
was
not,
very wrong.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah. That
told
was,
her
I
that
think,
this
a
is not
very
sexual desire. It's
yeah.
because she's married off as a child, given to,
My
forced to.
grandmother, both sets of grandmother had more than 6, 7 children, and it was definitely not sexual desire. It
Yeah,
was
and she's
because there was no
impregnated. It's
choice.
a violence. It's a violence that women have gone through for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, where they
Yeah,
had no power to say no to
of course, of
who they
course.
are getting married off
Most
to.
women still don't have power to say
And
no in a
most men have
marriage.
either. And I
Yeah,
told
yeah.
Natasha that even today, women don't have the power to say no to a man in marriage.
Yeah.
Marital sex is still not, is still not, marital rape is still not criminalized. And,
Hmm.
and then at one hand, she's saying women have women's sexual desire. That's why women got lots of pregnancy, 7, 8 times they were
That was
pregnant.
very
So
wrong. I think that
therefore,
was,
because they are
yeah,
pregnant so many times, that is why they are all the time in the kitchen, because it is easier. I mean, I
yeah,
cannot begin to tell you how wrong and how
yeah, yeah,
misplaced and how misogynist and misguided her views were on this.
yeah, yeah.
And it bothers me, Sani. I just
Hmm.
don't want to be like, there's no point converting the converts.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
both
Hmm.
understand what we're talking about here.
Hmm. Hmm.
But what happens is that social media is full of people like Abhilasha. They
Hmm.
are men, they are women, they do not know anything
Hmm.
about these concepts of power. Like, who
Hmm.
has the power to decide what a woman will do in her life? Who
Right,
has the
right.
power to decide when she will marry, who she will marry,
Hmm.
how many times she will get pregnant? She is going on and on saying that before 1960s, when there was no contraception available,
Hmm.
there was no
Hmm.
scientific development of contraception. Therefore, women were getting pregnant 7, 8 times a day, seven,
I
eight
think,
times because
yeah,
they
she
were
has
having
never
sexual desire.
spoken to women of that generation, because if she would have spoken, she would have understood in every delivery what the woman goes through. It was never a joy delivering. Right now, we have epidurals, we have so many other facilities, maternity wards are better. If a woman was having 8 children, 10 children, it was not a cakewalk. It was because she did not have any other choice. It was thrusted upon her. She could
It was
never say
thrusted upon
no.
her. She was socially, she was made into
Financial,
that
she didn't have
role
a
of
bank
being a
account
baby
also.
making machine. That's all. Society
Yeah,
did
yeah.
not give her any other role. And there's a very interesting book by Nivedita Menon on seeing as a feminist, and she writes in that the
Hmm.
biggest, she says biology. So Abhilasha talks about biology. For a minute, let
Hmm.
me go to biology and explain why patriarchy is a product
Hmm.
of biology. And she also said this, that
Hmm.
patriarchy has got nothing to do with biology, and that patriarchy has nothing to do with gender based stereotypes.
Hmm.
Patriarchy is the system which believes that men are doing all this work for the sake of the family and the
Hmm.
woman, whereas women actually do not even need that family. Women could just
Hmm.
well be single mothers, but the
Hmm.
whole taboo about single mother, the
Hmm.
whole idea that women have to be married to be a mother, the
Hmm.
whole idea that if you are a bin bihai mother, then you are like kalamkini, you've been thrown out of the
Hmm.
society. All of this cultural taboo comes from where? It comes from patriarchy. Why?
Hmm.
Because,
Hmm.
and she goes back to the, to the Indus Valley, to the Mesopotamian civilization. She goes back to the dawn of the civilization
Hmm.
and writes that it is the
Hmm.
men's insecurity that they cannot tell who their children are. Like, 1,000
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
back, men could not, before DNA was
Yeah.
discovered, men could not
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
is the child that
Yeah.
my wife is bearing or this woman is bearing.
Right.
Therefore, in order to control the private property when agriculture
Hmm.
started, the
Hmm.
men became insecure that I am toiling this
Hmm.
field and growing this produce,
Hmm.
and my children, my
Hmm.
sons, should enjoy the fruits of my labor. But how will I know?
Of
How will
course.
I know that these are my children? So the solution, because
Hmm.
they can't know, the solution to
Hmm.
ensure that these are his children was to physically control the movement of that woman. And that is why the private space became the woman's space, the kitchen
Of
became her
course.
space, and men were
Hmm.
encouraged to rule the whole world
Hmm.
outside.
Hmm.
Women were encouraged, were driven to
Hmm.
stay inside the
Hmm.
the private space. It is so
Yeah.
biologically, yes, the biological fact that only women can tell the parenthood, the fatherhood of a child, and the
Hmm.
insecurity of men that they cannot ever
Hmm.
tell whether this woman is carrying my child or somebody else's child.
Hmm.
That is what led to the birth of patriarchy. That's the
Yeah.
creation of
Yeah.
patriarchy right there.
Yeah.
So when people say, this has not got nothing to do with patriarchy, they just are so ignorant,
Hmm.
and they're ignorant, and
Hmm.
because they have not read, because everybody thinks that you can
Hmm.
become a feminist just because you think you're a feminist. You don't have to read any books, you don't have to read
Hmm.
any theories. Half of the people.
Hmm.
So I have done my PhD in women's studies. I've done my master's in women's studies.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've done my
Oh,
master's in women's
interesting.
studies, and I have done my PhD in women's studies. I have just actually submitted my thesis, and I'm waiting for the
Okay.
viva and the degree.
Oh,
But
all the best.
thank you. So the point is that here is the point that you have a random guy in LinkedIn dissing at feminism. You have a Vilasha dissing at feminism and then calling
Yeah.
herself feminist,
Yeah.
arguing
Yeah.
with me, not ready to listen, hell bent on her own
Hmm.
views, not at all
Hmm.
open to the other person's ideas. Like, if
Hmm.
you look at, she has made some 50 odd tweets yesterday, and if you look at her tweets, she is on a continuously aggressive and defensive mode, continuously
Right.
fighting.
I mean,
And
she knows her audience. She knows
she
that it
knows
is
her
working in her,
audience. Yeah.
and she knows it is working in her favor.
She's
And
she knows her audience, she's doing it for an
yeah,
audience. And at the
yeah,
end of the day, like you said, Sani, that you just have to talk to a woman to
yeah, yeah.
understand.
Of
You
course.
don't need theories. You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you just have
Everyone has gone through some level or of discrimination or anything. I remember, like, this is
everyone.
a
Yeah.
very, very personal story. I remember that when I was like, I remember the like the first years when you get periods and all. In my household, my parents believed that it was a taboo to go to the whatever Gharwala temple, mandir jo hota hai,
Right, right.
and because God has forbidden, and you are impure, and you are not supposed to touch the tulsi ka peड़ because that is also God. And at that point, I did not even need someone to tell me, oh, feminism kuch hota hai, because at some point, just because you are having a biological change in your body, and someone is discriminating against that. एंड यू फील कि ये तो नहीं होना चाहिए था, ये तो नॉर्मल है, ये
Yeah.
क्यों हो रहा है मेरे साथ. एंड आई डोंट इवन कम फ्रॉम कि जहाँ पे मेरा न्यूट्रिशन लाइक किसी और को जा
Yeah,
रहा
like
था,
we,
देयर
we
वाज.
come from privilege. Me too.
या
Yeah,
या
same here. We come
सो
from a
एंड देन
privileged
आई सॉ
background, but even then we see it every day around us.
या
And
एंड देन
even
व्हेन आई
within our
ग्रू अप.
family.
Yeah. And then I grew up and then I took a stand ki nahi, I won't be discriminated against just because I am on period. I need to touch, and if you need to throw Ganga Jal over it, you do your thing, but I will not be discriminated against just because I am female. And it took a couple of years to take that stand because you are also scared. You are so young. You don't know ki whether you are right or you are having mixed feelings because you're just too young to even have that very strong emotion. But when you know that a gender is being discriminated against because of what the gender or what the biology of the gender is, that is so wrong and that feels very wrong. And then educated families where the parents are doctors, उनके बच्चों के साथ भी they are doing the same thing. So education has not really told them कि नहीं नहीं सब लोगों ने साइंस तो पढ़ लिया है क्लास 10 तक, but it's just to pass exams. People have not really broken free from whatever their previous generation told them. So there are like so many problems that a woman, if they start to observe how they are discriminated against. And for this argument I have seen a lot of people tell me कि नहीं नहीं पेट दर्द होता है तो पहले तो मंदिर ऐसे पहाड़ चढ़ के जाना
Yeah,
होता
yeah,
था,
that.
तो ये this is just a notion to give the woman rest. But then with time things need to change. अभी तो डीएनए टेस्ट भी आ गया है, अब तो मंदिर घर के बगल में है.
Yeah.
If you are still discriminating a woman, इतना
Yeah.
then it is wrong, right?
Right. I mean, it is. I had my my domestic help one day came to my. I told her to chai bana do, and she said कि
हाँ.
दीदी मेरे हाथ का चाय पी लोगे? तो I said क्यों नहीं? नहीं मेरा महीना. So I did not understand
Oh.
initially. I said she's
Hmm.
asking about her salary. What is she saying? महीना. I said कि क्या मैं मतलब तुम्हें salary चाहिए? तुम्हें पैसा advance चाहिए? I didn't even understand what she's saying. Then she like very reluctantly, very hesitantly
Hmm.
told me कि नहीं मेरा महीना आ रहा है मेरे हाथ का चाय पी लोगे. तो I said oh my god, and
Hmm.
I told her like I तो gave her whole
Oh,
big
yeah, yeah,
lecture
yeah.
on
This
how
happened to me
wrong.
as well. Yeah, yeah. So this
Yeah,
happened to me. I think I had a Diwali party at home, and I was like, whatever guests came, and we were all lighting diyas together. And there's a girl also who came, and she's like, she took me aside and she said, "Hey, मैं भी दिया जलाऊं क्या? क्योंकि मैं तो periods पे हूँ." And I was like, "Yes, of course." क्योंकि नहीं नहीं वो घर वाले तो मना करते हैं. I think she came from a Marwari family and all. And so many communities. I mean, I have seen this in Biharis, Marwadis, Nepalis,
yeah,
Bengalis, South
yeah,
Indians. I'm not even focusing on one community. मैंने बहुत communities में ये discrimination देखा है that if you are in your periods, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, as if
yeah,
you are somehow impure. And this is also that goes, I mean, people should stand up against, right? If you can't be discriminated at home, at your workplace, you have to demand the same sort of equality that you demand in other spheres of life.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And like because I just said कि मैंने अपनी हेल्प को बोला कि चाय बना दो,
hmm.
तो I just it just struck me that अभी हमारी बात जो है वो चाय बनाने से शुरू हुई थी और हम ये बोल रहे थे कि हम ये बोल रहे थे कि घर के मेन फोक्स को भी कहते हैं कि
Hmm.
प्लीज चाय बना दो. So
Yeah,
interestingly,
yeah.
if you look at the division of labor,
Yes, I read
even
that.
when at home we have our help, and neither the man nor the woman of the house is going to the kitchen to make the tea. It
Hmm.
is some domestic help who is also a female, because
Hmm.
even in the unorganized sector, in the blue, in that, in the working class jobs are also, the outside jobs are all taken by the men, and women are made to do the domestic help job
Hmm.
of a
Oh,
घर
oh,
में जो domestic
yes,
help,
yes. So
and the
this,
खेती में वो एग्रीकल्चरल वर्क कर रहे हैं.
yeah,
तो अब वो वापस
right,
आते
right.
हैं तो ये कॉमन आर्ग्यूमेंट होता है कि ये जो
Right.
प्लम्बर है, इलेक्ट्रिशियंस है, फायर वर्क्स है, यहाँ वहाँ कितनी मेहनत उनको करनी पड़ती है, वो महिलाएं क्यों नहीं करती है. इट्स एज इफ
Hmm.
women one day there is a representative of the women community who came and said that we don't want to do any electrical jobs and
Hmm.
any construction job, any engineering job, and we only want the men to do this job. How did men got to the point when they are only occupying this job? Why don't we have women women engineers or construction workers? And although we do have the
Hmm.
women construction workers, we have the women carrying these cement, पत्थर, ईंट on their whole sir, and like
Hmm.
Abhilasha said कि मैं अपने पति को या men को बोलूंगी कि सामान उठाओ, तो women can carry their luggage. A lot of women do, and if
Hmm.
you
I do
just go
carry. I
around,
travel alone. I carry my own luggage.
yeah, like I said, we
I
all
don't have
travel
a
alone.
man all the time with me.
We
No, I
we
carry
all
my
travel
own
alone
luggage.
and we carry our own luggages.
Yes.
My sister went to Spain when she was just 21, 20. She was
Hmm.
just 20. She went to Spain and she carried this. She went for like a long term scholarship. So she was staying there. अब 3-4 महीने
Hmm.
के लिए तो हमारे घर में से पहली बार कोई विदेश यात्रा कर रहा था, तो वी
Hmm.
हैड नो आइडिया कि कैसे क्या पैकिंग करना है. शी
Hmm.
कैरिड वन बिग सूटकेस. Okay. And then when she reached there, from the airport to her metro station to her the flat that she had taken, she could not find any these so-called coolie that we have in
Hmm.
India.
Hmm.
She had to
Yeah. Yeah.
she had to carry that luggage alone, that
Yeah.
like that पता नहीं 20-25 kilo का suitcase, and she managed
Yeah.
it. She did that, right, like you said earlier कि
Yeah.
जब
Yeah.
जब वो वक्त आता है तो महिलाएं करती हैं. When it comes down to us,
करती है
women
सब
do it.
करती है.
Women do
Yeah. Yeah.
everything when it
Yes.
comes to us. But we have to question, how did the society become like this जहाँ पे all
Hmm.
jobs are occupied by men? Who decided that?
Hmm.
That is where
और ये तो
patriarchy.
that's a deep rooted problem because you pointed out कि engineers and when I was in engineering college, uh, जितने लोग so I was also in Kota Rajasthan, okay, so because I was coaching from for IITs and all.
Yeah,
तो
yeah,
वहाँ पे if you see a lot of ambitious families send their children to study. वहाँ पे जो like in a class of 120 student only the first bench is women. So the gender segregation starts there, which means कि अगर assume करते हैं इंडिया में x number of females and x number of males of the same age range है, but the ambitious parents are sending their sons more to study or
yeah.
pursue scientific studies because otherwise I don't see why सिर्फ फर्स्ट बेंच में इंजीनियरिंग कोचिंग के लिए सिर्फ फीमेल्स बैठेंगी क्योंकि उनके दिमाग में उनके पेरेंट्स के दिमाग में वो स्टीरियोटाइप है कि अच्छा फीमेल्स है तो कुछ और फीमेल लायक जॉब के लिए कोचिंग करवा
हाँ,
देंगे कॉमर्स
it's
भिजवा देंगे अच्छा
yeah,
डॉक्टर में ज्यादा वो नहीं होता तो डॉक्टर बनवा देंगे क्योंकि यू
it is 100% a stereotype. You know, no women
या
not studying this, going into IITs and going into engineering is
या बिकॉज उनको कोचिंग में ही
coaching
नहीं
में
भेजा जा रहा है देयर इज अ
हाँ,
फनल ओनली तो व्हेन पीपल से कि ना इतनी कम लड़कियां क्यों हैं अरे कम लड़कियां इसलिए है क्योंकि स्कूल में ही उनको सेग्रीगेट कर दिया गया ना उनको तभी बोल दिया गया तुम तो इस
तुम
लायक
इसके
नहीं हो
साथ
सो दे डिड नॉट पुट इन एनफ एफर्ट नाउ देयर पेरेंट्स डिड नॉट पुट इन एनफ मनी एज मच एज दे डिड फॉर देयर सन्स एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई बीइंग पार्ट ऑफ दैट सोसाइटी आई हैव सीन कि अच्छा बहुत कम लड़कियों को भेजा जाता है टू इवन बिकम समवन लाइक दैट इट्स अ रेयरिटी इट इज नॉट कॉमन अगर किसी के फैमिली में हो रहा है इट्स एन अमेजिंग थिंग बट इट्स नॉट कॉमन फॉर पेरेंट्स टू फील कि अच्छा हम हमारी लड़की को इंजीनियर बनाएंगे इट्स वेरी वेरी रेयर
it's
बिकॉज आई
very
हैव
very
सीन इन सो
rare.
मेनी क्लासरूम्स
And this has got nothing to do with biology. I mean, I would like to remind the viewers who are, in case they are, in support of Abhilasha's biology theory, why women cannot study science or why the parents will not focus more on giving them the right kind of tuitions so that they can pick up on that subject and, excel in that.
yeah
The gender segregation happens from the childhood. Are yaar, like, पेरेंट्स विल बी कि तुम इससे शादी कौन करेगा अगर तुम इंजीनियर बन जाओगे तो
हाँ तुम तो पढ़ाया धन हो तुम तो चली जाओगी तो तुम्हारा जो अर्निंग होगा वो किसी और के
हाँ
फैमिली का होगा वो
हाँ
हमारा नहीं होगा तो it's a lot of taboo like I have seen so many studies where the women say कि my mother-in-law allows me to send money to my whatever maternal
हाँ
home ठीक है ये अलाउ क्या होता
अलाउ
है वो
क्या होता है
तुम्हारा घर है
अभी
तुम्हारी
मैंने इस
कमाई
पे
है तुम किसी को भी पैसा कौन बोलने वाला है हाउ डज अलाउ कम
I
इनटू
just
पिक्चर कि
actually made a
यू
video on
अर्न
that
यू गो टू
few
ऑफिस
days back कि I
या
actually made a video on this few days back कि हम हमेशा ये सुनते हैं कि अरे उसके पति तो बहुत ही प्रोग्रेसिव है उसको तो शादी के बाद कॉल सेंटर की जॉब करने दे रहे हैं रात को लेट नाइट
हाँ
जॉब
व्हाट
करने
इज
दे रहे हैं
अलाउइंग समवन आई एम लाइक कोई मेरे सामने अलाउ बोल देना
allow
मैं तो उसको एकदम व्हाट
allowed
डू यू
and
मीन अलाउ हु आर
permissions
यू टू अलाउ मी
अलाउ एंड परमिशन
या
एंड वो उसके फैमिली बहुत ही प्रोग्रेसिव है उनको शादी के बाद भी नौकरी
हाँ
करने दे रहे हैं सो इफ यू आर अ प्रोग्रेसिव फैमिली यू विल लेट द वुमन pursue her pursue her dreams
या
and you will because you have apparently the authority to let that woman pursue that
हम्म
dream without and these
हम्म
statements so people who make these statements they are
हम्म
completely oblivious to the fact that it is her right
ऑफ कोर्स
and that you
या या
are nobody to give her the permission she
या
deserves it as a matter of right तो वो तो
या
और ही
तो
बात है
वही ना मतलब इट्स आस्किंग फॉर वेरी वेरी फंडामेंटल राइट्स एंड इफ समवन बिलीव्स कि ये फेमिनिज्म गलत है ऑल दे नीड टू डू इज टॉक टू अ वर्किंग वुमन एंड अगर मे बी एक वुमन मिल गई जो बबल में जीती है टॉक टू मल्टीपल वुमेन कोई ना कोई तो विल बी डीलिंग विद द रियलिटी ऑफ लाइफ जहाँ पे someone has allowed her to work someone has allowed her to send money because the men never had to be allowed to send money to their mothers and fathers and sisters right but the women had to be allowed after marriage अच्छा नहीं नहीं तुम हाँ बेटा तुम पैसा भेजो because they feel somehow because they're living in this house she can't send her earnings to her
yeah
own family who have raised her and everything that's like so wrong and there are like so many examples that I can think of right now
There
जहाँ पे
and there can be so many. We can talk endlessly, but we
yeah
have like almost talked for an hour, so we have to
yeah
like But so one more point I wanted to share is that about this division of this fact about like when we were having this discussion debate a lot of people, because like you said, ki Abhilasha knows her audience, so a
Hmm.
lot of people on your timeline and also
Hmm.
on the women news Twitter timeline was
Hmm.
also all from the right wing, and they were all
Hmm.
doubting this question, this thing about key, this statistics, this data about
Hmm.
how much household work is actually done by men. So we
Hmm.
actually do have a data on that, which was
Okay.
by the National Sample Survey Office of India, which
Okay.
comes under the Ministry of Statistics, and
Okay.
they released that report in 2019, which shows that women do overwhelmingly much more domestic work than
Of
men do.
course.
So so like they have 80, the ratio is 80-20, like 82% of the women and
Hmm.
12% of the men are actually involved in any kind of household work. And
Hmm.
there is this whole range of data on that which shows that
Yeah.
men don't do, like maybe 3% of men are doing some laundry, 6%
Hmm.
are ever entering the kitchen or things like that. Like all
Hmm.
of them are below 10, 3%,
Hmm.
6%, and all that. And one
Hmm.
interesting data in that is that men, 87% of the men actually enjoy leisure time. So there was one of the
Hmm.
questions that was asked in the survey, that do you have the leisure time? Do you have
Yeah.
time to spend on yourself? And
Hmm.
87% of the men are saying, yes, we enjoy leisure time.
Hmm.
So it can't be an excuse that because
Of
men are
course.
working out और
Yeah.
उनके पास समय नहीं है इसीलिए वो घर में काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, ये
Yeah. Yeah.
तो सच नहीं हो सकता है, क्योंकि लेजर टाइम है उनके पास, लेकिन
Huh.
वो उस लेजर टाइम पे घर का काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. एंड इफ
Yeah.
यू ऑफ कोर्स इट्स अ रियलिटी, इफ यू गो टू रूरल इंडिया यू विल सी
Yeah.
दैट महिलाएं खेत में काम कर रही हैं,
हाँ
और
हाँ हाँ.
एंड
In
द मैन
Rajasthan and all, women go fetch ऐसे क्या कहते हैं
वाटर.
water बहुत
हाँ,
दूर दूर 20 किलोमीटर 30 किलोमीटर दूर से आते हैं. They do rationing of water. They do planning of क्या खाना बनेगा. They do everything यार. फिर
हाँ,
the men just come
मतलब
and they have
वो
also toiled.
वो गांव में भी काम, वो खेत में भी काम कर रही है, फिर वो सर
हाँ.
पे पानी भी लेके आ रही है,
Yeah, yeah.
फिर वो जाके घर में, अच्छा फिर वो चूल्हा नाव तो चलो मोदी जी ने सबको एलपीजी गैस दे
Hmm.
दिया है, पर वो लकड़ी भी लेकर आ रही है, फिर वो गैस, वो चूल्हा को जलाएगी, फिर किचन में खाना भी बनाएगी. सो द होल थिंग शी इज डूइंग, शी इज वर्किंग
Hmm.
आउट इन द फील्ड, शी इज कमिंग होम एंड शी इज वर्किंग इन द किचन ऑल्सो. And you
Hmm.
will often see, it's a common scene from the village, that the men are sitting on a charpai and
Hmm.
smoking hookah
Yeah,
or
yeah.
playing
Discussing
cards.
world politics and
वो
discussing आज क्या हुआ
डिस्कसिंग,
किसकी
हाँ,
में कौन.
और वो ताश खेल
Yeah.
रहे हैं और वो हुक्का स्मोक कर रहे हैं,
हाँ.
और जो महिला है वो कभी खेत में टॉयलिंग कर रही है, वो कभी किचन में टॉयलिंग कर रही है. तो सो द
Right.
होल थिंग कि women can't do physical work is a big lie. Women do
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of physical work, and
Hmm.
women have been pushed into the private sphere by various patriarchal notions and stereotypes and taboos. That is why
Hmm.
they don't have the participation in the
Right.
paid work outside. It's
Hmm.
not that women
Yeah.
decided कि हम नहीं
Hmm.
करेंगे ये काम. It's the
Hmm. Hmm.
society which created that mindset
Hmm.
that men will do the paid work outside, women will do the
Hmm.
unpaid का labor जो है, जिससे वो family actually
Hmm.
healthy से run कर रहा है,
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
वो the महिलाएं will do. So so
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think one thing I would like to say is, let's say
yeah,
whoever watches this video, right? If one step you could take towards being a better feminist is, let's say, if you have a domestic cook or a help who is a female, I have experienced this in my previous domestic cooks that वो जब बैंक अकाउंट देते हैं ना, वो उनके हस्बैंड का बैंक अकाउंट देते हैं. Uh, when you are sending money to your domestic help, make sure you always ask her कि नहीं मैं आपके बैंक अकाउंट में दूंगी क्योंकि that's her
right,
money and because she has worked hard for it. uh, she should be rewarded with that money and discrimination lower section of the society में बहुत ज्यादा होता है बहुत ज्यादा.
बहुत ज्यादा.
Then in the upper because you have financial stability also you can take a lot of stand as a person who earns more, but the people who don't, for them you have to empower them and you can start by saying ki if you don't have a bank account you create a bank account but I will
Create a
not
business.
send to your husband's account
Yeah,
even if
or
it
you
is
help
10,000
them.
rupees it is 3,000 rupees I will send it to you. You can decide to give it to your husband, you can
Yeah,
decide to give it to your want to do with your money. But if I am employing you, I will give you the money.
Yeah, very well said. That's a great message, actually, Sani. And on that note, of course, I also have to say that topics are endless because now when you talked
Yeah.
about bank account, now the issue of how many women are actually having access to
Yeah.
mobile. Even though mobile
Hmm.
penetration is so high in the country, women are still behind in
Hmm.
mobile ownership. It
Hmm.
also there is also data on smartphone ownership, which
Hmm.
shows कि अगर एक परिवार में both the man and the woman may have mobile. The man has the
Hmm.
smartphone, woman have the वो पुराना वाला phone
Yeah, yeah,
जिसमें
feature phone, yeah.
जिसमें you can't have the you can't have the apps. So she can't access these
Yeah.
GPay and other things. So
True,
so
true,
it comes
true.
back to like we have discussed about ki how many women are having mobile technology. We have a lot of conversations in the tech circle कि सबको हमने connect कर
Hmm.
दिया है UPI से and all that. But again, there is a gender
Hmm.
base. And like one of the next thing that going to do on women news is is a video, is a story on women's participation in the tourism sector. And I found out that government does not
Hmm.
even have gender segregated data on women's participation in tourism sector. मतलब अगर सरकार से पूछो कि what is the
Oh.
participation level of women in the tourism sector, they won't be able to give you
Hmm.
any answer because उन्होंने वो gender segregated data कभी बनाया ही नहीं है. तो similarly
Hmm.
हर
Hmm.
whatever claim that the government makes in terms of this is our
Hmm.
GDP, this is our UPI connectivity, this is our mobile penetration, blah blah. Are we asking the gender based data? Are we asking how many of them are women? That is where
Hmm.
we really are. I don't think we are always aware of the asking that question.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think this as a policy, this can be changed that whenever phone number is being registered or a new phone is being bought, make sure you identify the gender of the person.
yeah,
I think that is something that can be implemented if the government really wants.
and it can be done easily. Actually, it's not even very
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah.
And these,
Hmm.
but the
Yeah.
point is, a lot of these policy changes are also not difficult, but nobody even thinks about them. Gender
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
something that is not even
Yeah.
thought. It doesn't even come into the mind of these
Yeah.
policy makers. So except
True.
वो
True.
जब चुनाव आता है तो फ्री का सिलेंडर और वो मतलब कुछ फ्री का
Yeah.
सिलेंडर दे देते हैं बस जब चुनाव आता है. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I think we've like spoken for like 1 hour. So
Yeah, yeah. It was lovely talking to you.
yeah,
Felt
thank
like
you
talking
so
to a
much for
friend
giving
and
your
venting,
time.
actually.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't get.
No, no, felt like talking to a friend and actually venting about all of these things.
Yeah, so I wanted to. I think we need feminist spaces, and I'll tell you what. All ये YouTube
Hmm.
पे चैनल बना के जो पॉडकास्ट का कल्चर हमारे देश में मतलब आज है आजकल चल रहा है, मतलब
Hmm.
वेस्ट में भी चल रहा है. उसमें you have a lot of right wing accounts which are
Hmm.
running these these YouTube channels which have got lots of views. Then you have
Hmm.
some liberal spaces, some secular
Hmm.
spaces like Muslim spaces. You have ex-Muslims, ex-Hindus running YouTube channels. You have the Dalits, like the anti-caste activists running channels. I don't think there is
Hmm.
a feminist space where
Hmm.
which is free of like complicated jargon and theories. Just two
Hmm.
women talking about women. I mean, simple.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have that, and I'm trying to build that space. Women
Yeah,
news.
yeah. Kudos
Women
to
news is
you.
my
I think you're doing a
initiative.
very good job.
Thank you so much. So, women news is a news and it's journalism meets feminism. I'm a journalist. I'm
Hmm.
also a feminist. I'm also a lawyer, and I thought that I need to club all these together and come up with something on my own, where all these doesn't have to be segregated. Journalism, politics, and feminism are not separate
Right.
silos. They can all coexist, and you just have to so create that space. So I started Women
Hmm.
News. So yeah, thank you for joining
Okay.
me on
Yeah,
Women
yeah.
News. Thank
Yeah,
you
it
for
was lovely.
giving
Thank you
your
for having
time.
me. Yeah. Have
Yeah,
a good
thank you so much. And
day.
I'll see you again. We'll be in touch.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you so much. Bye, Saini. Bye. How to stop?